What's up, tech junkies? My name is JD from JDTechGear and welcome back to the channel. So today's talk is going to be about why you shouldn't buy a Mac. And today's video is in collaboration with Fresh Tech, and he's doing the opposite or the opposing side of this argument of why you shouldn't buy a PC. So make sure to check out his channel and check out his video on why you shouldn't buy a PC. So a little disclaimer. If you love Macs, that's completely fine. If you're already used to them, then yeah, there's no reason why you should be watching this video unless you're just here just to be entertained. Other than that, this is purely opinion. You don't have to listen to what I'm saying, but these are just reasons why I would suggest someone shouldn't buy a Mac, especially if they're on the verge of buying a new computer and if they're deciding between Mac or PC. Got my script over here. So the first thing we're going to talk about is gamers. Now, if you're not a gamer and that doesn't really concern you, don't worry. There'll be more about productivity and also creators. So that'll be addressed later on in the video. But for right now, gamers. Well, Macs really aren't optimized for gaming. You know, the price that you pay for the performance doesn't really give you the performance that you need to game, especially in the graphics card department. As far as games go, there's more optimization towards Windows just because Windows is a more widely used platform, or it's a more popular platform. Doesn't mean they're exactly optimized for Windows or Mac, but there might be compatibility issues for smaller games that are only coded for Windows machines and stuff like that. Also, you have a Windows 10 store which connects with your Xbox or Microsoft account, where you can play anywhere under your own account, obviously, with the games that you purchase. So it's more user friendly in that sense if you're going to be gaming on a computer. So yeah, if you're trying to game on a Mac, it's not really optimized for gaming. So what if you want to swap out parts, or you know, things happen and you need to upgrade, or you need more juice? Well, if you're getting a Mac with everything built into the screen, that's usually not good, because that really doesn't give you the maneuverability to get in there and swap out parts and things like that. Of course, yes, there's all-in-one built-in PC monitors that have everything built into the monitor, and that's not necessarily preferable either. I don't recommend either of those types of products because you just can't go in there and upgrade things or get them fixed as easily as you like. Plus, there's not as good of airflow in it, and I could just go on into detail. But if you want to swap parts, it's a little bit difficult with a Mac, especially when you're buying the Mac Pro, which is that little cylinder-looking thing. A lot of people call it a trash can. Yeah, you might be able to swap out some things, but it's not going to be as easy as going and opening up a computer case and just putting in your own parts or upgrading the hard drive, because things fail. Parts do fail, regardless if it's PC or Mac. So the next point I want to roll over to is your price per performance. And this is the big one. This is the big cojones of why I recommend that you don't buy a Mac. Just don't do it, because the price that you're paying for the hardware is just not worth it. You can be getting much better parts for a PC, and you might be saying, well, you know, you get a really good firewall and you get great creative apps and all this other stuff, or creative programs installed into that. It's really optimized for creators. While that may be what they're advertising, that's not necessarily true. Macs do get viruses. But if we want to talk about price per performance, they're kind of ripping you off. Let's talk about the MacBook Pro versus the PC equivalent. So you have a ZenBook from Asus, which rocks the same specs as the MacBook Pro. The MacBook Pro is a $2,800 laptop, and the ZenBook is $1,400. So the ZenBook's $1,400, MacBook Pro is $2,800, so you have about a $1,600 difference. So they have all the same exact specs, right? You have the same 6700 HQ processor. You've got the 512 gigabyte PCIe based SSD and everything. You even have a 2 gig graphics card in both of them. Although the MacBook Pro has a Radeon 455, I believe. Yeah. And the ZenBook has a GTX 960. The 960 outperforms the Radeon 455. Yeah, and if we're just talking hardware and specs here, yeah, They're charging you $1,600 more for the same exact thing, only with the Mac OS and their integrated software. And so that's kind of like the equivalent laptop to the MacBook Pro, because it's got that finished aluminum look and it's very sleek looking and all that. So let's move on to the more desktop side of things. We're going to talk about a custom built PC desktop versus the Mac Pro desktop, which is that cylinder looking thing. So let's go over the specs of the Mac Pro. And it's got a hex core, a 6-core Xenon CPU, 16 gigs of DDR3 memory. Yes, DDR3 memory, not DDR4. So you have dual AMD D500 graphics cards, 256 gigabyte PCIe based SSD storage, and 90 days of complimentary telephone technical support. Yep, they even threw that in for you. So how much does all that cost? That costs $4,000. So let's go over a custom built PC I built on PC Part Picker, and let's talk about the hardware and specs in that and what kind of price that came out to. So we're going against $4,000. So at $4,000 to blow on a custom built PC, let's see what I turn out with. We got a 6900K CPU with 8 cores. We have the Corsair H100i liquid cooling, which is really good for cooling the CPU. An Asus ROG X99 motherboard, 32 gigs of DDR4 memory, 1 terabyte of M.2 SSD memory, a Zotac GTX 1080, NZXT mid case, an EVGA 750 watt fully modular power supply, and Windows 10. But you might be saying, okay, well, the firewall is better and they have integrated apps and software like Photoshop and everything, and GarageBand. So I'm like, okay, well, what if you bought those things and put it on your computer? So here I included Kaspersky antivirus protection, Adobe Photoshop and Premiere, FL Studio 12 Producer Edition, Sony Vegas Pro 13. So you have all the major creative apps. So what did this price come out to? $3,722. Still roughly about $280 cheaper than the Mac Pro and almost double the performance of the Mac Pro. So your kind of argument might be, well, Macs are more reliable and PCs aren't. They break all the time and get problems with them. Windows 10 sucks. Yeah, I get it. But basically what it comes down to is you're paying for the operating system. And the operating system is not justifiable for the kind of price that they are charging you, the customer. It might have a slightly better firewall. I mean, it's completely dependent on the user. If they're surfing parts of the web that are incredibly infested with viruses, or going through emails that are obviously spam. So that's completely dependent on the user. So they're just as vulnerable as a PC is. What's the difference? There really is none. You're paying for the Apple brand. You're paying for that operating system. You might say, well, the operating system is more user-friendly. Well, if you've been using it for these past years, yeah, probably. It probably seems more user-friendly. But it's not worth justifying that incredible price gap between PC and Mac. It's a complete ripoff. And I'm not saying this just to, tear apart Mac. I'm saying this because this is what matters to the customer. The customer is what matters. It's like people don't have the full knowledge of hardware and computers, so Apple is there to just kind of take advantage of that. They say, okay, well, we're going to advertise towards creators. We're going to advertise that our products are more high-end and higher quality. There is no justification. It's a whole bunch of fluff that they're selling you on, that whole entire price gap. Because at the end of the day, it's about the people. It's about the customers, the people who watch this channel, the people who support my channel. I would not support Apple in any respect and tell them, yeah, go put your money towards the higher end brand when it's really not that much higher end. It looks higher end and it's advertised as higher end. You can make anything look sleek and sexy over a commercial and over a website, but that's just not the truth. The only Apple product I own is a phone, and even then I contemplate on whether I should have a Google Pixel or not, but I've just had this for the last couple of years, so I use it. Moving on, I really think if you're considering between a Mac and a PC, going towards the Mac is kind of just unjustified for what they're trying to sell it to you. Of course, if you're completely decided on it and there's nothing that can change your mind, then obviously you're decided on that, and that's perfectly fine. But if you just want my opinion, here it is. These are the reasons why you should not buy a Mac. So there's my 2 cents. So remember, guys, to check out Fresh Tech and his video on why you shouldn't buy a PC. I'm sure they'll bring us some good points. There's always disadvantages and advantages to both sides of the story. So obviously it's not going to be in one perspective. So you can get both sides of the story there. So if you guys want to see more videos like this where we talk about PCs, PC knowledge, tech reviews, unboxings, and setup design, consider checking out the rest of the channel, and also consider subscribing to the channel. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope they helped you out or give you a little bit more insight on about Mac and PC and get a little bit more of an in-depth feel on what that market is really about. Yeah, I think at the time of this recording, I'm at 999 subscribers. I'm almost at 1,000. That's just completely mind-boggling to me. 1,000 people. It's not like there's 1,000 people watching this video right now. Well, I don't know until I upload it. But still, 1,000 of you subscribe to me to watch me. I'm honored. I'm blessed. I'll have a more in-depth video on thanking you guys, unless everyone just decides I'm subscribed. Then yay! But anyways, yeah. I just wanted to give you guys a little thank you, and also thank you for watching the video and taking your time out of your day to watch this video. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys for watching the video. I will catch you guys next time. And make sure to check out Fresh Tech. Alright, peace out, guys.
Aren't you glad to meet me?